Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Need to do some repair work around the house after this last winter storm? Well, be sure you have the right winter building materials to use. When you build in winter, you need winter materials. Anna, Jacob, Alex, and Father Gordon Hines can all put the right stuff in your hands. Get down to A.G. Hines Company this week. They're located downtown Knoxville, or you can visit them online at aghines.com. All right, let's welcome in the next member of our panel. He's down there filling out the board. He's doing his assignment. Bob Hodge back with us. Bob, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about Dalton Knecht. Let's go ahead. I'll start. Let's just put up the graphics. We'll get this party started here. His last 4 games. Look at these numbers. He's averaging 35 minutes a game. He's shooting 53% from the field, as Josh pointed out, only 40% yesterday, 1 for 6 from 3, still put up 25 points. 5.5 rebounds a game, almost 2 assists a game, 32 points a game over 4 SEC games. You've already seen all of the lists where he's tying and breaking school records left and right. First guy to score 30-plus in 3 games since, blah, 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 blah. The list is unreal. He's a sports information director's nightmare because they're constantly having to dig back into the archives and check numbers. Take a look here at UT Consensus All-Americans, though. There's only 5 Consensus All-Americans in UT history, and only 3 of them were first team. Grant Williams, Dale Ellis made first team and then second team another year. Bernard King, first team. Chris Lofton and Ernie Grunfeld, both Consensus second team. And I'm going to throw my director here. Chris, just come back to us, and we'll wait for that next graphic, so just come back to us. My question, what are the odds of him making, if he continues to play, and I don't mean he's going to score 30 a night for the rest of the year, but if Dalton Knecht, with the attention he's getting, can he play himself onto an All-American team? Is that absolutely, or it's tough? Where are you?
It's an absolutely, especially with the team being 6th in the country, and if they stay in that top 10, top 15, absolutely he'd be an All-American.
All right, Consensus All-American. Bob, you think he's only 5 in UT history?
And that's what, until you said that, until you showed that stat, I would have said, yeah, sure, look at him, look how he's scoring. But only 5? I think it's going to be tough. I mean, I really do. Now, what he's got going for him, he's on a team that's going to finish very high in the postseason rankings. And so that, some of the guys made it on teams that were probably not going to be as ranked as high as at the end of the season as this one. But I'm still going to go with it's going to be hard.
Okay.
It's going to be hard, but he absolutely can. He's in the top 5 of National Player of the Year odds right now. Now, it's still early in conference play, and I think we'll all agree team success is going to be required here. Yeah. If they can maintain roughly top 10 status and top of the SEC status, which the win against Alabama helps with that, then Dalton Knecht's probably going to play a big role in that. But he's getting a lot of national attention. A lot of national media members are talking about Dalton Knecht, and narrative helps too. So the more coverage he receives, that'll help his case too.
Yeah, that's. I was going to ask that question. I thought, well, let's just go back and check how many Consensus All-Americans there were, and it was a shorter list than I had thought. So that's why I thought, okay, let's just put that in the show as well. All right, now let's take a look at coaches all SEC teams. All right, so I just wanted to look at the last 20 years. We wanted to whittle this thing down to the last 20 seasons. So this goes back to 2004-05 and goes through this year. On the left are the guys who are on the coaches all-SEC first or second team. Like Chris Lofton made the first team 3 times. Jordan McRae, Tyler Smith, Santiago Vescovi, Grant Williams all made it twice. Wayne Chisholm, Admiral Schofield, Jarnell Stokes, they made first team once, second team once. Scotty Hobson, Josh Richardson made first team once. The guys on the right, Jordan Bone, Kennedy Chandler, John Fulkerson, Tobias Harris, Robert Hubbs, Jerron Maben, Kevin Punter, C.J. Watson, Zakai Ziegler, they've all made the team, but they made second team once. I wanted to give these guys a quick assignment. Where does Dalton Knecht rank? And you can get somebody off those lists. And it's also, keep in mind, some of those guys didn't play 4 years. I mean, Tobias Harris made the list once. He was only here 1 year. So I want to get your take on where Dalton Knecht ranks among those peers. And we'll start here and go around to Bob. So, Josh, let me go ahead and we'll get a tight shot on you and see what you got.
Okay. So I have Chris Lofton at the top. What he did individually, the team success that came.
Let's do this. This is tough. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Was I covering my face?
I kind of like. Let's just. I think most segments should be me doing that.
So Lofton and Grant Williams, what they did individually, the team success that came with each. I have Knecht third, which is also a bit of a projection of what we just talked about, what he could do this season. Individually, we see the scoring. We already know what he's capable of. Can he keep it going is the question. Schofield, again, the impact he made on the program, I think it goes beyond his level of play, which was high. He was on there twice, first and second team, I believe.
Yep.
And then the fifth spot was tough. I thought about Tyler Smith. C.J. Watson I thought was so important to get things started when Bruce came. So
And underrated.
yeah,
as well. It's kinda forgotten.
he's the quiet storm. He didn't have a big personality. He had a big game and had a really good NBA career. So C.J. was my fifth.
Didn't factor in that he was a Chicago Bull for a while.
Now that you mention it,
Mark Pancratz, who you got on your list?
So,
And how many of these are guys that he coached? Let's see this.
so how I looked at this was NBA career had nothing to do with how their ranking was here.
Okay.
Because I think Tobias, you could argue, Josh Richardson, things like that. And I didn't take into account any off the court or impact on the program because where it was at. Like Kevin Punter would be a guy that gave Barnes credibility.
Yeah.
So my top two are the same as Josh. I do think Wayne Chisholm was over there. Defensively, he was underrated. I think he may have been all defensive team one time. Could score from three, inside post. Tyler Smith, same thing, man. Just a bulldog. Just a really good player. And I put DK, Dalton Knecht on there. I still struggle with that. Now, talk to NBA scouts, what they love about him, score at all three levels. He plays with professional NBA player patience, gets to his spot, gets the mismatch, and goes and just makes a play. And that's scouts love him. He's going to be a first rounder, maybe even a lottery pick if he keeps playing this way. But it's still early. I mean, he averaged 9.6 points a game in against mid majors. He's on a rise right now.
Yeah.
But just rewind 3 weeks ago, we're having some questions.
Yeah, but how much of that now? The further we get from it, the more he continues to play like this, the more I'm thinking that ankle injury was an issue. I mentioned that last week. I think that cut his minutes. When you look at the minutes, it cut his overall performance. But we'll see. I mean, it's a long season, very long season. Bob Hodge, let's see what you're doing.
I had a little bit more problem than everybody else. But I went with Lofton Williams, as everybody said. Wayne Chisholm, who I've always liked a lot more than fans, I think, remember him, give him credit. I always thought Wayne Chisholm underrated for Tennessee.
Best example to me of a guy who was here as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I just thought he got better and better. Every year you look like he developed.
And you got to wonder, are you going to see those kind of guys anymore because of
we'll
a
get
lot
into
of different reasons?
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I had Smith on my list, and then I thought, you know what? Admiral Schofield, once again, he just meant things that didn't always have to do with pure basketball talent. I mean, he was a tough guy. He looked like he motivated his teammates. He had the intangibles. And I, too, have Knecht fifth on my list. And just like Mark said, it's a little bit right now kind of a question because he's only been here for a few months. Yeah. He's got the rest of the season to get under him. And I almost left that blank and said it could be Knecht. It could be Zakai, in my opinion, Zakai Ziegler, too, because of what he brings to the team, like a smaller Admiral Schofield with the energy and all that sort of thing.
Well, and the other way to look at this, and we don't have time for me to give my list, and that's why I didn't do a list like that, and I wanted to not get involved. But one that you could have looked at this also as guys you would pay to watch. I think Knecht's definitely on that list and high. If you're just talking about guys you enjoy watching play, because most people are going to say scorer. Well, in terms of scorers, hard to beat what he's doing out there. So there's different ways you can look at it. What you had as a team.
That's where Ziegler is with me.
Yeah.
Guys you'd pay to watch.
Okay, very good. When we come back, bracketology, SEC title race, Tennessee's top 6 lineups, and a scouting report. Why should you be worried about Vanderbilt? Why should you be worried about Vanderbilt, Tennessee's next road game? We'll ask Mark Pancratz. He'll tell you why you should worry. Coming back on the Sports Source.